Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Market's stable. Just kind of like a baby walking upstairs, you know what I mean? They use their whole body to get up one stair, and they kind of rest a little bit. And they get their body up one stair, and they might be halfway there, and they fall back to the last stair. We just don't want the baby to fall all the way down the stairs in this scenario. I wouldn't mind the crypto market doing that just because I like my cheap coins. But also, I was saying, it's cute and all to want to think about yourself and to want to get cheap coins. That's all cute and everything. But at the end of the day, we're in that spot where we're going from 1% to 2% to 3%. And each percent you rise is going to drastically increase the speed at which cryptocurrency awareness, because it's all compounding. And when you have these big comments by these big bankers and you got people, you just got the guy from Overstock, Patrick, saying basically that China and Demon, I want to call him Demon, they're afraid of Bitcoin. All these big guys coming out that are against it, the banksters and all that stuff. They're just afraid of Bitcoin, and that's obvious. Of course, we saw this coming from a mile away. They don't fight. They don't play fair, and there's still, you got to understand. You got to think of like your parents and like your uncle and stuff like. There's a lot of people who are still very easily manipulated by the media, which is a shame, but that's also why you have just so much crazy crap going on in, pretty much everywhere. Just the media is just absolutely, I mean, you go from one country to the next and you wouldn't understand, you would think you're in two different planets, because one side saying so completely different than the other side. And then that just creates like this kind of weird invisible wall, right? And that's why the internet's so good. And that's why these applications that are fighting fake news, that's really the most important thing, because we're in this world and there's really nothing more important than communication, guys. Like, where is all the money? We're on YouTube. Why? Because we can communicate to one another. Why is Facebook so expensive? What are the most expensive things in the entire planet? It's social communication. That's all that matters. Without communication, this world would be in chaos overnight. Everything else is kind of secondary. Yeah, food, shelter. Of course, we need all that, like the basics to keep you alive. But once you have shelter and all that, the 100%, meaning if you don't have it, you die. We wouldn't die without communication, but we wouldn't be able to evolve like in the world we are now. I don't know. Probably would. It would be absolutely pandemonium. But it's just, there's nothing more important than communication. So when you have something that's fucking with that communication, meaning it's changing it and manipulating it and make it into something that it's not, that's really going to be bad for the planet. And that's what's happening. It's always been happening. It's just a lot harder now. The internet fucked everything up. And now it's like, yeah, the internet made it to where fake news could spread quicker, but it also made it to where, I mean, real people listen to real people. I mean, you understand, like, people can call bullshit. People aren't dumb. You got people out there that can be like, okay, well, I'm listening to these two people, and, one just sounds like they have a stick up their ass, and the other one actually sounds like he's saying some fucking truth. And then you're just going to have the people who are going to naturally gravitate to those information sources. And it's happening, and you're starting to see it kind of like magnets, and you're just starting to see it get bigger and bigger, because the people who are talking real, the people who are really spitting the good stuff, they're getting nice followings. And yeah, there's people coming after people. That's fine. I mean, it's kind of like we're going up against somebody who's like a level 100 and we're like a level 1, and we just keep getting our ass killed. But, we're fucking building and we're getting stronger and we're getting stronger. Meanwhile, they're getting weaker. It's like, they're taking deaths and losing EXP left and right. And, before you know it, they're fucking dropping levels, losing power, growing. And it's really awesome, because you get like that predator type feel, like when you see what you're after, and you're going to get it. It's just a matter of chasing it down. You're faster, you're stronger, you've come so far from the issue at hand that now it's just a matter of distance. And it's not an if, but it's a win. And that's what this feels like with the crypto market, with Bitcoin. The banks are just they're just not needed. They really aren't. I can see there being a place to where like you can go and like safety deposit boxes where you store your crypto, kind of like, yeah, like banks are, but not in the aspect of where they control it. Right, because if everybody wanted to go get their money right now from the banks, wouldn't have it. They wouldn't be able to pay it back because of that bullshit where they can loan out more money than they actually have. That's the problem. That was where everything went wrong. Like what a bank was supposed to be was a great idea. Yeah, man, you don't want to have a bunch of valuable things in your house. Come here. We have a nice security. You're paying for security, right? And then when they just started giving out the loans, and then before you know it, they started printing money, and then they started giving out more loans than they actually had. Then that's when it's crooked. How could that not become crooked? Think of to yourself, if you were in that situation, how hard would it be for you not to be crooked? Now, and you're probably a good, decent human being. Now imagine if you weren't a good, decent human being. Because those are the type of people that gravitate towards those type of things. Sneaky, where, oh, we can print extra money than we really have. Imagine what we could do. And then you put that on a world scale where you have something like a Federal Reserve where it does that for countries. So they can just print money more than they have and loan them to countries and then charge extra interest rate on money they didn't even have. They're loaning people things that aren't even real. And when they can't pay them back, they come take things that are real. That's serious. That's some fucking Darth Vader shit right there. That's on another level. Like, let me just repeat that. I don't know if that sinks in with everybody, but that's the real. This isn't a video fucking game. This isn't a movie. Like, there's people out there who are printing a fake money. It's not real. It's backed by nothing. They're loaning this money that they just made to countries. Are we on the same page? So they create fake money, poof, out of nothing, and then they give it to a country. And if this country doesn't pay back more of the fake money that the country that they loaned it to can't print. So they can't just print money and give it back to the Federal Reserve. No, they got to make it like out of the economy. And if it doesn't happen, the government, the place that created the fake money can come in and take real tangible assets for something that it had no value. It's amazing. Like, they're owning countries. Whole countries are just in slave debt because the Federal Reserve can literally just print up as much money as you want. And you know the shitty thing about it? Okay. Let's say that you get this loan. Let's say you get this loan, right? You're this country and you get this loan. You're like, thank you, Federal Reserve, high five. And then you notice that the Federal Reserve goes over to this country and gives them a loan. And he's like, well, wait a minute. Did you just print more money, Federal Reserve? And like, yeah, a little bit. It was like, well, doesn't that make the money you just gave me worth less? And like, yeah, a little bit. And it's like, well, isn't it going to make it harder for me to pay back? Well, yeah, a little bit. And then before you know it, it's like, it's such a losing game. It's so corrupt. I don't understand. And I guess the countries are in this spot where they can't really, they're not, they're screwed. They need the money. Or they get strong armed. Or there's some kind of false flag where they go in there, fuck up the country and then say, hey, we'll give you loans to fix it up. It's like, I'm not deep down the rabbit hole and all that. There's people who are, and I watch them, and there's a lot going on that aspect. But I'm just saying that, man, people keep looking at like what the governments are saying as like, I'm not trying to be some crazy anarchist or anything like that. I know people, when they think of like the government, they think of, it's like, okay, well, this is like, the law. This is what we have to abide by. But there's corrupt laws. And in the Constitution, it says, the people are supposed to have guns, not to protect themselves from outside intruders, but to protect themselves from the government, just in case the government becomes corrupt, because the people who made the Constitution are long gone, they're dead, and new humans are made every day. And the human, you might be a good person, but you make a shitty human, right? You're not guaranteed to make a good human just because you're a good human. And even though that shitty human is shitty, they're your son, and you're going to give them a nice prominent job. And that's kind of how we are with the Kim Jong-uns. Like, how did that fucking asshole get in charge of a whole country, starving his people while this dude's fucking wearing like a poncho. He's so fucking fat, looking like a fucking beached whale. I've never seen, like, it's ludicrous. And of course these slimy snakes, of course these slimy snakes are going to come and hate on Bitcoin. I mean, why wouldn't they? The beautiful thing is they can't stop it. They're going to be damned if they can stop Merino. I fucking picked me up some Merino. You got to be out of your mind. They can't stop it. It's invisible. It's like whatever, right? It's here. It's like drugs. It's like it's guns. It's Marino. There's nothing you can do. You can't stop it. It's here. There's nothing you can do about it. It's untraceable. You can't track it. Good luck fighting that, government. Good luck fighting something that you can't trace it, you can't track it, and you can't go kick down the doors to make it stop. So good luck fighting that. No, they're not. They're going to have to find a way to live with it. That's the only thing. And this mindset that governments have to exist. They can exist, but on a much smaller scale. I understand that you want some kind of security and you want people keeping track of this and that. But as far as like, this whole taxation and this whole printing money and the whole rigged fiat system, that does not need to play. No, the government does not have to have their hands in everything like that. No, I completely disagree, because now we're at wars. You're like, oh, it'd be safer, but is it? Like we're at wars, like left and right, because of this fiat system, because of dollar wars and all this stupid shit, when we could just be further advancing our species with cryptography and moving forward at lightning speed, instead of trying to ban it and fight it and go to war and all this crazy crap. So looking at good deals, there's I mean, like I have been targeting privacy coins. Obviously, I just think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are due for a huge boost, especially Ethereum with Metropolis and all these updates coming out. That's the time thing. That's what I always talk about. That's why time is so valuable, because you get to a point where all of this stuff that took, like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Look at Dan L and EOS. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Yeah, they're ahead of schedule, but you can't just poof instantly make something, right? So this time is much more valuable than the money, because Ethereum has developed. They have been working. They're much better product than they were 2 months ago. It's like, if this was a shiny gem in a store, it would be so obvious as to why it's worth more than it was 2 months ago. Right? If it's a much better gem, it's a much better, it just has way more utility. It's just so obvious. But since it's a cryptocurrency and it is dictated by the market, right? You look at the name Ethereum, you can't see all the gears and the winding things, right, in the background. You just see the logo and you understand. You see the coin and you see how you can send it. But the real mechanics on the insides are absolutely being improved. And that's when, out of nowhere, Ethereum's going to bull run to fucking 800-900, and people will be like, "Ooh, how did that happen?" And I'm seeing it from a mile away. It's so expected. It's so overdue. Why would anybody? And that's the thing. China is not dumb. They're going to try to fight it, but they understand that that it's a very risky game they're playing to try to go up against Bitcoin head to head and create their own currency. It's a very risky game, because they understand they could be isolating themselves. Because what happened? A lot of people are going to Japan. Do you think Japan's all of a sudden going to want to ban Bitcoin? No, they have something over China now, right? They have people from China coming to them. All these wealthy people. These aren't poor people. If you flee to Japan, just like the poker players. The poker players, when poker was banned from America, it wasn't the poor poker players leaving. No, it was the rich poker players leaving. And that's the same thing. So it's like you have all these big whales in China leaving to Japan, making Japan richer. And what happens when Japan regulates it and taxes it? These big whales would be more than happy to pay their fucking taxes on Bitcoin, because they don't want to fucking go to jail. They just want to be able to trade their Bitcoin. They don't want to fuck around with insufficient banks. Banks got it wrong. It's shitty. No one wants to use them. They're slow. They take a lot of money. Their currency is shit. Their service is shit. They're closed all the damn time. They close by midday. They have all these stupid rules. If you want to go get your money, you got to jump through hoops, especially if you want to get a lot of it. If you want to move a lot, you got to tell the IRS why you're moving over $10,000. Like, are you kidding me? Like, fuck that. We don't need that. Who says we need that? I'm sorry. You can, I know a lot of bad things are going to come from it. Like, you can throw all the bad words, drug dealers and all that stuff. But dude, like, I'm not That's the fine line, right? Security versus freedom. You can only protect us for so long before you are strangling us. It's kind of like a mom loving you to death. Like, I'm going to squeeze you as tight, and then you just burst the brains. Like, the world's not worth living on if we can't live it free. And we just have to find other ways to go after these bad guys. We can't just say, okay, well, no one can be free because a few assholes want to do some crazy shit. That's not how it works. We have to step back and realize, and that's not what it is. Nose tap. They're fucking, that's a blind. Obviously, that's not the main reason. The main reason is control. They're not doing this for our good. I'm sorry, but the governments aren't spying on every single person and taxing and inflating the money and going to all these wars to protect you, right? Last time I checked, when they drop a bomb killing millions of innocent kids, that wasn't to protect anybody, right? That's for money, for control, for power. So, that's what they do. They'll hide behind these righteous causes to protect you. You have to fight all the bad guys. We're here, and you can only hide behind that for so long before people are like, really? The world's going to hell in a handbasket. Like, I don't think you're doing a great job. Last time I checked, there's riots in the street every fucking day. And last time I checked, it wasn't because of fucking Bitcoin. So, I think there's a lot of other fucking priorities, governments, that need your addressing that aren't cryptocurrencies. How about you get your fucking shit together and all the bridges are crumbling because you're failing. You're failing because you're taking too much off the top. The governments are taking too much for them. The politicians are too rich. They're making too much money. The other people aren't. It's rigged in a way to where it's like you blindly get to take how much you want before you pass off the rest. And there's some people who are like, I might take 2 handfuls this time. No one's going to notice. And before you do that, you pass it to the other one and they take 2 handfuls. And then before you know it, they're having to put a little bit back and shuffle a little bit shit over so it doesn't look like too much is taken out. And then they leave the rest of the crumbs for everyone else. And yeah, I just wanted to get into a little spirited talking just about what I'm seeing, because I've been spending the last couple of days really accessing this and doing a lot of research and just understanding what's happening. Lots of crazy shit happening where everyone's on the brink of waiting. Japan's having missiles flung over it, for crying out loud. And what does that tell you? Japan has 2 missiles flung over it from North Korea, and you still have people fleeing over there for to do their cryptocurrencies. People will rather be in a country where bombs are flying over it and be able to have their freedom to trade cryptocurrencies than to be in a country that, because everyone knows North Korea is not going to fucking bomb Japan. There ain't no goddamn way fucking North Korea is going to bomb. That would be like them cutting their own throat, because China is obviously the last line of anything that North Korea has. So China is actually probably the safest place if you're talking about from North, even though they're so close, obviously. But they would not do that. They would obviously go after Japan, South Korea, Guam, a lot of places like that. Hell, they're even saying they could hit parts of the United States now. So that's scary. And they only said there's like a 50% chance if they launch one, dude. And they're talking about, if you're actually watching this shit, I mean, you probably should. There's a lot of shit going on. They're talking about they can launch several of these. They could put nukes on warheads and on rockets and send them across. They can launch multiple ones from caves. And even if let's say America dropped a nuke on North Korea, wiped it back to the Stone Ages, it might not even get it, because they have one of the most sophisticated underground bunkers ever, and no one really truly knows the extent of it, because you can only get images for so far. So they're really thinking like these guys are like moles, and they're so far underground, and they have so many of their nukes underground that if you did bomb them, they would still be able to retaliate multiple times. This is a real situation. I know a lot of people want to talk about the market and want to talk about all this, but if you don't know what's going on in North Korea and all that, it's best that you stop watching the market and maybe watch a few videos on what's going on, because it's very serious. And of course, that can implicate everything. I think in a bad, I'm not pro all this, but in a way, This is just further increasing the global decline for the fiat because we're over $20 trillion debt. There is no recovery in sight. There is just absolutely no recovery. Wars aren't cheap. What's happening in North Korea is not cheap. Like, this is costing us lots of money, and a lot of our attention. Like, the United States can't focus on rebuilding when they have to constantly focus on being defended. And this is deeper than just North Korea because obviously we're talking Russia, China are not, they have not said, hey, yeah, let's get North Korea. No, their words are mixed and it's very dangerous. So, and obviously Russia and China don't want what's best for North America, and it is, and of course the world reserve is the dollar. If that was to change, then the dollar becomes what? Who would accept it? Imagine if no one would give loans anymore to the United States. What's the only option then? War, right? But so yeah, a lot of stuff going on. It's a sort of a bit deal, if you know what I'm saying. But basically, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are due for a major correction. Even Bitcoin, yes, because obviously we got to see what's going on. I mean, there's still a lot, like with the forks, man. I'm glad we're getting it done early. I'm hoping, like Crypto Daily said, this is the last time we have to deal with slowish Bitcoin. I did notice that my last few sends were a lot slower actually than it's because about 4 or 5 days ago I sent it and it was damn near instant Bitcoin, and I was like, man, this is nice. And then whatever happened with the Bitcoin Cash hash attack or wherever they fucking had all of these premium transactions trying to attract the miners. And we don't really, I'm just waiting for next year around this time to see what's going on with Bitcoin, seeing how many Bitcoins are going to be. I'm not really sure what's going to be. It's crazy that Bitcoin Cash is just hanging around, just hanging in there. I think it's going to take a while. Bitcoin Cash is just always going to be around, just kind of like, I don't know, just it is what it is. I just hate that it does that because it makes it look cheap, man. I don't know, it just looks ghetto, right? It's like, couldn't they have like thrown a C in there, right? BC or something. Just looks ghetto. I hate it. Every time I look at it, I see these two and it's kind of like a glitch. And then when I show my friends, they're like, they look at it and they're like, what's that about? And I have to tell them the story. But I guess it's just an aesthetic thing. Neo, like I said, anytime, Neo has just been a money, just, buying here, selling here, buying here, selling here, just very easy money. No reason for Neo to really blast off. And we don't understand that Chinese can just come out of nowhere and be like, hey, we're regulating everything, everything's back on. They can do it just as fast as they took it away. So I'm always prepared for it. I just look at the long-term game and I look at worst case scenarios, and Bitcoin survives every single one of them. It's like the cockroach in the nuclear war. Bitcoin there's no worst case scenario where Bitcoin doesn't survive. It's always out there. Even if it became centralized, you can use it in a semi-decentralized. You can still use it you can still use it. Even if it became like, I'm just thinking like the worst case scenario. It's still peer-to-peer money, right? And then if Bitcoin does become too centralized, it's still going to be it's still going to be worth money. People are still going to use it. But then Merinos and these private coins are obviously going to absolutely explode. So I think Merino is definitely undervalued. I'm not a real big fan of Dash. I don't know why. I just feel it's maybe a little bit too centralized. But I could be wrong on that. I'm not talking shit about Dash. I think Dash is absolutely a great coin, and I think it's going to do really great things. But I am looking at Merino. Also got some Verge, just some privacy coins. It seems like they're going to go up. I'm not betting, I'm not putting on big chunks on them because I like Bitcoin, I like Ethereum, I like EOS, I like all of the coins that I have. And I'm going to kill it here on this note, but basically, a lot. Crypto Daily went over that time lapse that was really cool, where he was showing like Bitcoin from a year ago and 2 years ago, and you got to see, and there was like so many coins that we didn't know what they were, and that's the same here. There's just so many coins that are not going to be here in a year or two, and one of the strong reasons I have, I bet a lot on coins I know are going to be here. period. I know they're going to be here. I know Ethereum's going to be here. I know Bitcoin's going to be here, etc. I am not betting big on coins. The coins I do bet big on are the coins that are using my help. So if I'm a part of the team, like No Limit Coin, OnG, MyBit, I know that the devs aren't going to walk away. And I've been in meetings with quote unquote all-star CEOs, the best of the best, and they would actually kind of like be arguing towards one another. Like they wouldn't even be on the same page, like, cause it'd be both of them and then we'll get to negotiating and I'll be asking tough questions, yada, yada, yada. And before you know it, it's like, you don't even get a good vibe or the people aren't, or or you can get a sense that the job is just another they are just brought on to, they don't really care. They just want their money and they want to go. There's a lot of that going on. And I am not about to put my money into something that A, might not be around here, and B, I have no control over. Like I have no control over some of these ICOs and some of these coins, and I'm not going to be affiliated with them in a meaning that I'm not going to invest really big if it's not something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, and I'm not a part of it. I have to be on the team. I have to see what's going on. No Limit Coin, there's so much work going on all the time. It's crazy what that's turned into. Just an absolute monster. I absolutely love watching it come to fruition. All the hard work, it's like I raised a plant, and now it's becoming a tree, and then it's going to become an oak tree, and then it's going to, or a apple tree, and it's going to give everyone nice bits of fruit. And it's really awesome to see that. And I'm starting to see that with, MyBit, we're going to see that, because I understand like so much going on behind the scenes. There's going to be a workable platform. They're going to have the connections. You're going to be able to use MyBit to buy solar panels. All of this is 100% in the future. So it's really nice that I'm a part of that and I get to understand it and I'm a part of it. And OnG is the same thing. The new UI is working super hard. That's ramping up. I'm starting to gravitate people to work there and starting to build that company. Really, really nice. Going to have, there's so many people that work for No Limit Coin. There's about to be so many people that work with OnG. And that's the type of, I'm real comfortable investing in those businesses. Why? Because I'm there. I have my hand in it. I can work. I can make a difference. I can hire. I can be listened to because I trust myself. There's not many people who've done what I've done, talking about going from so little to so much in such a quick time. I don't think anybody has, not on YouTube. So, I know I have it in me to make these businesses succeed. And when people trust me and give me a seat at the table, I work wonders. And that's what I'm absolutely going really hard on the companies that are 100% legit, 100% legal, 100%. I know who they are. I know their fucking dog's name. I know everything about them. Certificates, background checks, you name it. There's no fucking way that it's a scam. First of all, that's you can't, even if it's a 5%er, man, like those 5%ers add up if you're a poker player, you know what I mean? And you can't miss on a big swing. You can't miss on a big swing because then the bat goes flying out of your hand. You hit somebody in the stands, you get sued, you become a bad player. You always gotta make sure your big swings hit. And that's why I'm really comfortable in my top investments. Bitcoin, they don't need me. Bitcoin's it's there. It's fucking here. They have the best of the best. I'm investing in it because I love it. And then I also have the investments where I'm swinging big, putting my money and my time where my focus is. And yeah, just business building. It's really fun. Wasn't like a hobby, but I love it like a hobby. You have a hobby because it's something you do, but it's awesome when your hobby is your full-time job, like your full-time gig. What you do every day is build business. I wake up every day and all I think about is how to make the businesses better. And then I go to sleep and that's all I think about all day. And all I do is talk to people all day about making the businesses better. So, yeah, I have an interview with Philly D later today. Actually, he's been doing so much hard work for No Limit Coin. He's an absolute beast with the fantasy football. So he's been really helping with the UI. And, he's been putting so much work. Dude, I've had people come to me and be like, hey, man, you want to do an interview? I'm not an interview guy. I don't do it. But you couldn't pay me. There's no amount of money you could pay me to do an interview. But when there's like a value vault like Philly D, when there's somebody who's putting in work, who I see, I want to talk to that person. I want to spread love. I want to, I absolutely will do that. So that's just another thing. Like there's some things money can't buy, and there's nothing value can't buy. When you provide value, there's nothing that you can't get in return. There's nothing like, I'll save the story for tomorrow. I might forget it, but there's been several times in my life where I needed to get something from somebody, or I needed to have somebody on my team, and I never ever, and money couldn't get it. You couldn't, there's not money. But guess what? Every single time I gave for free, I gave value. I helped overly. I did more than was expected of me. I always got what I wanted in the end, in a greedy ways. That's what people don't understand. Obviously I'm not doing that from an attachment, right? Everything I do is detached from the outcome. I don't ever do anything for the outcome. I always do it for the now, for the value creating now, never looking at the outcome. The outcome is not in my hands regardless, right? I could be walking down that path, right? Walking to my front door. Of course, I'm 100% going to get my front door, and then a fucking comet hits me and I die. Like, there's certain things that are just out of the control. So I don't ever look at the outcome. And when you give that kind of value, it's amazing. You get that's how life works, right? The trees give you your oxygen, you give them the carbon dioxide. That's just how it works. It's just about what you can give. So always going to come from that, man. If you get a group of people, you get a head guy you can trust, a few guys that are pillars of trust, pillars of responsibility, pillars of not going to F you over, and you all create, all to go in together, not expecting anything, not expecting anything in return for all the effort you give, and you get a bunch of like-minded people doing that, boom. There's nothing that's impossible. Your wildest dreams, you get 4 or 5 of your best friends and you guys have full-time jobs and you guys all commit 10 hours a week to a project where you're not asking for anything. You're just all doing their best to do it. Oh my God, you guys would be millionaires. You wouldn't understand. It's all about creating value, but I'm going to kill it there. Cheers. Peace.